Hey everybody, this is Mitch Ferraro from F Street. I hope everyone's having an amazing day out there today. Super pumped about this episode. Today I have our lead underwriter here at F Street, Kevin Worm. Kevin Worm is on with us today. Super excited just because I get to work closely with Kevin almost on a daily basis. He's one of these guys that always walks past my desk. We have good conversations, always lets me know what's going on the hard money side of the business. The hard money side is the company that we loan out to through the private debt fund. And any investor that's with us or any investor that is thinking about investing with us, you are going to love Kevin because he is the one that makes sure that the deals that we're getting into are good deals and that we can continue to loan out to these good deals through the private debt fund, the money that you're investing into. And, but Kevin, I just want to say thank you so much for the time today. I really, really appreciate it. Before we just kind of dive into underwriting and what that looks like, give me and the people that are watching a little background on yourself and, what it's been like for you at F Street, but just kind of a little background on you first.
Sure. Well, Mitch, thank you very much. That's quite the introduction, honestly. So I have almost 10 years in lending. I came from Chase Bank, a local bank in F Street for the last 2 years. I'm also an investor in real estate. I own a duplex. I live in it, so I guess you can say I'm house hacking.
Yep.
I'm a big financial guy. I love money. Love credit scores. I ask people all the time, what's your credit score? They look at me, they're like, what's wrong with you? And then I walk away because who asks that in conversation?
And I've seen this happen in real life. I was just with Kevin the other night, and as we're walking down the street, he's randomly asking people what their credit score was. So that is a true story for sure. Now, Kevin, I want to give our investors and anyone that's possibly thinking about investing with us, when we go and underwrite a deal, I think we do a really good job of acting fast when we have to act fast, because that's one of the key components of investors or, real estate investors that are borrowing the money that will borrow from us, is because we can act fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to start giving us an understanding and start just talking about what are you doing when you're underwriting these deals?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for? What type of borrower do we borrow to? What are these deals looking like? Just give us kind of a broad view and we can kind of dive in from there, but just give us an understanding what that looks like.
Yeah, for sure. So I look at 4 things. I look at cash, credit, collateral, and experience.
Okay.
Those 4 pillars are what we look at for every borrower.
Yep.
Now, you won't have the perfect borrower every time. You might have someone who has good experience, but bad credit, or bad credit and no experience. That's a very different story.
Yeah.
You might have someone who has good cash, good credit, and no experience. So those 4 things really are the pillars of what I do.
Yeah. And when you say like cash, you're just talking like cash in their account, like how much money do they actually have? Like, because obviously when someone borrows our money, they have to pay us interest payments every month. So when you're saying cash, it's basically like the amount of cash that they have inside of their bank accounts.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So either they have their own cash, or they find a partner or a friend or their mom who can gift them funds.
Yep.
They might do a JV, we call it a joint venture,
Yep.
where they have someone they know in the industry who has the cash.
Yep.
Then they can give it to them through some kind of partnership. Or, if you can borrow funds from, let's say, your 401k, that's an option. Scott talks about often other alternatives.
Yep.
In the industry, we call it OPM, other people's money.
Yep.
So why use your own cash if you can find somebody else?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's really cool too, because I think when borrowers are coming to us, they're kind of looking for a solution of not using their own money and using our money, and they can then basically keep their reserves in their pocket, maybe to pay the interest payments every month to us, and use our money to go ahead and buy a property and fix it up. Now, let's just say, give me just kind of maybe what a typical deal looks like. Give me an idea of what a good deal looks like when you're kind of underwriting it. Like, what are you looking for from the borrower? What are we looking for from the scope of work standpoint, the documentation that they might be providing us, that you can do your job to see if it's a good deal?
Yeah. So borrowers who are organized and frankly know their shit will get approved much faster. If you can tell a story about yourself, about your experience, you won't get very far in life or in this industry. If you ask about my property in general, I can tell you when I bought it, how much I paid for it, the address, well, because I live there,
Yep.
and how much I invested in the last 3 years,
Sure.
dollar for dollar what I invested.
Yep.
If you can't tell me what you spent on the property, if you can't give me a list of addresses,
Mm-hmm.
then what are you doing?
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's cool too, because like at the end of the day, with you being an investor yourself, you understand just that general scope of like what might need to be done to a property, the what actually might your property could even sell for right now. So I think you have a good idea of what that looks like from, just experience standpoint. Now, you work with a team of individuals here at F Street, people that are providing you the information. Give us an understanding of what that looks like from a team perspective of how you're working through a deal when a borrower might be wanting to borrow money from us.
Yeah. So, like Mitch said, we have a good sized team here at the company, and it's nice because everyone, or almost everyone, is also property investors,
Yep.
or they at least work in the space of real estate.
Yep.
We have realtors on staff who they do that on the side, but then here, like one of our employees, he does real estate,
Yeah.
but also he gives us our values.
Yep.
So he can see if the deal is good or not.
Right.
So then he can say, "Hey, Kevin, this deal sucks. What do you think?"
Yeah.
So then I can review and say, "You're right," or "You're wrong," or we're both like, "You know what?
Yeah.
Heard of it." So when we have a team atmosphere, we can all work with each other and figure out what's good, what's not good.
Yeah.
And if I'm not sure or they're not sure, yeah, Scott.
Yeah.
Scott always has the answer.
Right. Right. Yeah. And Scott, our owner and founder, he's an amazing man to work with. Honestly, the guy's in the business so much. He's always available. It's always nice to go to if we can't get the answers for something. I also like to point, we're basically having these real estate agents that are on staff that are employees here at F Street. They're basically pulling comps, right? They're pulling comparable properties to the specific subject property that we're basically getting in to see if that deal is going to sell at a certain price.
Correct.
After the fixes of that property are done. And if they are, there's a good likelihood that we may borrow to them because there are these other pillars that they have to go through.
Correct.
to for us to provide the money. Or if it's not, we can at least go back to the borrower and say, hey, listen, you're way off. Like this doesn't work. One other thing that I kind of want to touch on, because we see it often and it's pretty crazy, but touch on like, you got to be careful of fraud, right?
I do, yes.
So there's a lot of things going on where we may catch something that this looks fraudulent. Kind of just give us an understanding of what you're looking for from that perspective.
Yeah. So real estate fraud is like, it's serious. Obviously, it's very common. I see quite a few things. Like in my career, I've seen a lot of fake bank statements.
Yep.
In my prior roles, I've seen fake paychecks, fake tax returns. So we also run background checks on our borrowers, and on occasion we'll find old bankruptcies or new bankruptcies.
Yep.
So I had a borrower at my last company. We found a recent bankruptcy, and he pushed back on us. I'm like, well, no, this is pretty legit. Like it's official. Sorry, we can't give you business.
Yeah.
So this guy fought us. He brought in his documents with an older date. That doesn't make sense to us. So we called the courts to figure out what happened. And the guy changed his date of his discharge to make it look better for the lender.
Wow.
Which was clear fraud.
Yeah.
So we didn't do the loan. But fraud is out there. We catch it more and more every day.
Yep.
And that's good because we're catching it. So
Right.
it's not being,
we're not loaning out on
exact
fraudulent real estate transaction.
It is.
Yeah. And I think too, what's really nice is that when I'm talking with investors and I'm getting them to understand what we're doing on the hard money side of the business is that we're just not going out and when we get an application, we're not just loaning out this money. We do a really good job of due diligence, and Kevin's one of the leaders that does a lot of this due diligence and works with our other team members here at F Street to be able to get the information to make sure that we can underwrite the deal correctly. But we're doing a really good job on the back end so you as the investor can know that your money that's being loaned out to these borrowers is for really, really good deals. And like what Kevin said, it just doesn't matter if the borrower has good credit or has cash in the bank. We're looking at experience. We're looking at the deal itself. We're looking at the scope of work. I think it's important that people understand too, Kevin, is that like we are taking in about how many loans a month? Like how, or I should say applications.
I've seen like 400 applications, 500 applications. So there's
Yeah.
a lot that do come through.
Right.
So
Right. And with that, like how many do you would then see? Because we do have a pretty good system and process in place that kind of automatically kicks stuff out if they don't meet certain criteria. But out of those 4 to 500, how many are you probably seeing in a month?
I probably touch, I would say over half,
Yeah.
200 files a month. And then we close probably about 40 a month or so.
Yeah.
So I touch a lot of deals. I see a lot of things, for a lack of better term. So when you give me fake bank statements, I can pretty much see it. It's pretty obvious. And
Right.
we have a system called Plaid that allows a borrower to link up their bank account
Yep.
with Plaid. And then Plaid gives us a report that the borrower cannot edit. They cannot fraudulently create new numbers.
Sure.
So we see the actual figures. So a borrower might say they have 500,000 and we verify they have $50. It's like, well, I wouldn't say it's always fraud, but sometimes they can't do math, frankly. So,
Yeah, right, right. And I think too, I think we have these certain systems in place like Plaid, like TruePics. TruePics is a software that we use that when a borrower wants to get a draw from us for the completed work inside of a house, we use this piece of technology that the picture that they take actually geolocates to the exact location that they are at to make sure that it's actually at the property that we're loaning the money out on. It's not their home or they're not out in California somewhere. So we use these types of systems and technologies to make sure that we're basically loaning out correctly to borrowers. One thing I want to touch on and kind of give you kudos for, because I know this it is a big deal. We're in August of 2025 when this episode's being recorded. And I was under the impression, and you correct me if I'm wrong, from January 1 of 2025 all the way through June of this year, we've had 0% default rates on every loan that has gone out thus far this year. And is that accurate?
that's accurate. Yes. Our borrowers are paying us, and that's the big thing. Like, you pay us back. You want debt, pay it back.
Yep.
And they are paying us back. So that's great.
Yeah. And that's the first time in company history that has ever happened in the 16 plus years of the private debt fund and of the hard money co being around. This is the first time in that span that we've had 0% defaults. And that is a huge, huge thing for our investors like yourself or potential investors, because literally that means every loan that is going out every single month, we're getting the payments that we should be getting every single month. Because at the end of the day, we know this, we're in the lending business. That doesn't always happen.
That's true.
Borrowers default, borrowers don't make their payments. We have to sometimes go into foreclosure and foreclose on the asset and take the asset over. I think, from your perspective, Kevin, if you want to maybe just shed some light on it, at the end of the day, you're maybe feeling some pressure to make sure that the loans that we loan out on are really good loans. Maybe just touch on, what that's like for you to make sure that, we're loaning out on the right deals.
Yeah. So honestly, it's kind of tough because I know that my eyes are on every file, like we just said, but then also my name's on that file. So if that borrower goes belly up and gets foreclosed on, I take it personally because that was my loan that either I missed something on or maybe I missed nothing on and they just didn't perform. So either way, it's still my loan.
Yep.
And if they're in default, my first question is, what did I miss?
Yep. Yeah. And what it's typically do you miss? Nothing, because we're 0% default rate for this year so far. So no, well, Kevin, I really appreciate the time and I know you're super busy. I know you've got files on your desk that you're going through today. The biggest thing that we wanted people to understand today was we have our underwriting team led by Kevin. And then also Scott's always approving our final loans. We do a really good job of making sure that these loans are good loans that we're loaning out on, so that at the end of the day, our investors are continuing to get their 10% annual interest. We're continuing to pay every single month on the last business day of each month, like we've done for the past 16 years. We've never missed an interest payment. And now we can say 0% default rate in the year of 2025 from January 1 through June 30th, which is just awesome. But Kevin, before we get out of here, anything else you'd like to just let our investors know about what you do on a daily basis or how you're trying to help protect their money?
I just want to say that F Street knows we know our shit. We do a good job. We've been in real estate for a long time now. We have multiple realtors. We have Scott, Josh. We know what we're doing.
Yep. Yeah. We have a really good team around us, and Kevin is a part of that team as well. So Kevin, man, thank you so much for your time again. I really, really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day, and thank you so much for watching.